I just loved R&B, you know, Soul Man, Hold On, I'm Coming, Knock on Wood. You know, we learned licks like that. Cropper was a big influence. All the rhythm guys, the guys who did little opening statements, you know. I loved real country. I when I was a teenager, I got Merle Haggard live in Muskogee, Oklahoma. And Roy Nichols just, you know, took real simple, you know, just simple melodic. And I heard that quote from Chet Atkins. He said, "You'll never go wrong playing the melody."
How did New Orleans and Louisiana music arrive in your scene, and how do you feel about that?
As I said early in my young days, my buddy Paul, who had the record collection, turned me on to the Meters. And that was Alan Toussaint producing stuff. You know, we're listening to Working in a Coal Mine and Yeah. The Lee Dorsey album, Yes We Can, was a major morning record for us too. With Bonnie, we played the Jazz Fest a couple of times back in the day. And I would just be, when I was off stage, I was in the gospel tent, which was amazing. It still smokes down there, or going to the blues tent or whatever I saw, you know, the Wild Chapatulas and the, you know, the Meters. And Alan Toussaint sat in with us one time, and I went down to Tipitina's, and George Porter and Alan Toussaint sat in with the band. They asked me up, and then Bonnie cut What Do You Want the Girl to Do? And getting to jam with George Porter and Alan Toussaint was just real high points. I just sat in on the Sandy Beaches cruise with Wayne Toops. And they kick into that kind of stuff and just blow you off the stage.
Let's sing it, won't you do it? Here we go. Na 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 na.
You know, I divide chords into two notes mostly when I'm in the studio. So if you're, you know, if you're in that rhythm going, you know, and you're just sort of fooling around with, you know, little two stops, you know, and not getting in the way of the vocal or the song, but just snapping it around. You know, I like horn parts. I like Mr. Pitiful. You know, if we're going, the horns go. You know, first of all, working for Wexler was a gas. He thought Steve Winwood would be an interesting duet with Etta James. And it was interesting. As a matter of fact, we did Nighttime is the Right Time, you know, because the nighttime is the right time to be with the one you love. And in the middle of, you know, she goes, baby. And that's in one ear. And then Steve Winwood comes in and goes, baby. And I went, I can hardly tell the difference between Etta James and Steve Winwood, and their voices blended great. And so that was a fun day in the studio to have both of them in my head. I jokingly say, you know, I raised my kids in this town. I was a Little League coach for 8 years, you know. I could get out of an Etta James session and be standing on third base in 10 minutes. You know, coaching Little League. I couldn't do that in LA. I couldn't do that anywhere else. I did a session with Levon Helm one day, cut tracks, and then sat and overdub. He's another one of my favorite days in the studio where he was playing mandolin and I was playing bottleneck, and he'd say things like, I'll tell you what, Will, I'll take the intro, you take the first verse. After that, it's every man for himself, you know, and stuff like that. And, you know, you woke me last night, you were talking in your sleep. Sounded like you're wondering if our love's gonna keep. Baby, can't you see? Ain't nobody loves you like me. Just something I wrote that I thought I'd try to pitch Levon, and he passed before I got it to him. And I guess if I were to say anything, I'd say if you got a dream out there and you got something you want to do, there are no guarantees. You might as well just go for it.
Visit soulcountry.com for full episodes, playlists, and more.
Have mercy, baby.